This is Kendra.
And this is Brianna. Welcome to Camp Comparisons,
where she's in one camp and I'm in the other. So since last episode, Brianna and I watched the Sea of Monsters movie, and I realized that I've never seen the Sea of Monsters movie, and that's why I'd forgotten so much about it. But I know we're not on the Sea of Monsters yet, but I did want to say that last episode we were talking about Clarice in the TV show and how pretty she was, remember?
Yeah.
Well, we just saw the Sea of Monsters movie, and Clarice is also pretty in there, but at least in the TV series, they don't give Clarice and Percy all that, what do you call it?
Sexual tension.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. So at least they did that right. They made a pretty Clarice, but they definitely made her not like Percy.
Yeah, I know.
So that was funny.
Weirdly enough, I realized that the Lightning Thief movie is actually worse than the Sea of Monsters movie. Something that I thought the Sea of Monsters was way worse because I know that the ending of Sea of Monsters is like off the rails, but the rest of it, not that bad. However, after watching that movie, I'm like, you know what? I totally see Clarice and Percy together.
Yeah,
in that version of the world.
In that version,
they had so much more chemistry than Annabeth and Percy in that.
They
movie.
totally did. So funny. So they're definitely doing better on the TV series than they did on that particular characterization in the movie. So,
however, speaking of chemistry between characters, rewatching this episode, like now that we're seeing Annabeth for the first time and her and Percy are interacting, I still hate it. Like right at the beginning of their relationship, I'm like, oh, just stop everything. Like it is wrong, and it gets better. But I don't like their interactions at the beginning at all.
And that seems to be a common thing in the fandom, because I've been following different Facebook groups on Percy Jackson and stuff, and it seems like that was the thing. Like in the beginning, it was like, oh no, there's no chemistry between Annabeth and Percy. This is horrible because Percy Beth, as they call the ship, is very it's loved so much, and people were really worried. But
it does get
better.
Yeah, and I just have to remember that as I'm rewatching it. I'm like, oh god, it's so awful at some points.
If you go onto Instagram and you watch the Percy series or the Follow the Percy series account, I think it's called Percy series, they have a lot of little videos of the three actors talking and doing things together, the three that play, Percy, Annabeth, and Grover, and they have really good chemistry in those videos. So I'm like, okay, they have it. It's there. It just needs to be portrayed more. So hopefully in season 2 we'll get more, because in the beginning of the books, like you said, Annabeth was not always friendly to Percy.
No.
But chemistry didn't totally start.
Yeah, I know. And like we already talked about, I think the reason why we felt it as readers is because Percy was feeling like some type of way about her.
And you could kind of hear
that.
Thoughts,
yeah, but I'm sure from an outsider's perspective, it wasn't so obvious.
Yeah. Well, we just kind of jumped right into that subject. But let's recap here. So our last episode, we went over his little dream, and then he wakes up and talks to Luke, and Luke talks about glory, and then they try to figure out what Percy's good at, and he wasn't good at anything because they did not put him in a canoe.
The one power.
And then they have that whole burnt offering call to mom, and then the great scene in the bathroom with Clarice.
And in that moment, when he talks to Annabeth in that scene, I was like, oh yeah, I feel this, I like this. But then I captured the flag, I'm like,
it goes out again.
What is happening?
I know, it was a little weird. And we'll talk about that because we are not there yet.
So remember that we're going to spoil this whole season and book, but we will not spoil other books without a warning ahead of time.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so after the bathroom scene, it opens to the training montage of all of the campers, and they're all training their formations and fighting, and Luke and Percy are walking or standing nearby and talking.
Right.
And that's when Percy's like, Annabeth was there in the bathroom, and she said she was waiting for something like this to happen. And then Luke explains that she's always 6 steps ahead of everyone else, and she's the head of her cabin and the best warrior at camp. And that and then how they know each other, the little sister thing and all of that.
Yeah. So this is supposed to basically line up a little bit with chapter 8. So we're like starting with chapter 8. And in chapter 8 of the book, he talks about the routine he settles into. Like, you know, he says, like, I settled into a routine that felt almost normal if you don't count the fact that I was getting lessons from satyrs, nymphs, and a centaur.
Right.
But he like goes in like, this is how it's been going, and he's doing the training, and he's doing this, and he's like, so kind of like, and that's supposed to be like days, right? So the most we get from that, we did that montage earlier, but then is we get this like training scene where Luke's talking about Annabeth.
And we can imagine, like, it's like I said, in the last episode, we got to day 2 at camp, and from like look at the scenes, it was definitely only his second day at camp when the bathroom happened.
Yes.
But at this point, this jump could be a couple days later. He just heard about capture of the flag. I'm sure that the next day is not training and then capture the flag day. Or maybe it is.
It's hard to tell. We can
imagine. Maybe it's been a few days. I like to believe that he's not at camp for like 3 to 4 days and then just leaves for a quest. Like at least a week or 2 or something.
Right. And the data that you get from Luke in this scene, some of that is given in the earlier chapter directly from Annabeth. Like, and then some of it's actually not until later. He talks a bit about Talia. Talia? Oh my gosh. Sorry. That's a pronunciation that I don't really know
pick
what
one
we're
and
doing.
stick to it. I call her Thalia.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I pronounce the TH.
Talia.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Thalia.
Okay, well, Thalia.
Yeah.
And we don't really... Some of that data he gives is not given until much later in the book. So it's kind of a little mashup of information being dropped by Luke at this point when wasn't him in the book particularly.
Yeah.
But let me ask you a question. I'm so confused when he says like she's the best warrior in the...
Okay, yeah, I made a note about that.
Okay.
They really hype Annabeth up way more. I think in the book he says that she's the best strategist.
Yes. Because she uses her mind and thinks things through, and she's very smart.
And she's good with her knife. She's definitely not a bad fighter, but she has like the same basic fight training that everyone at camp does. The thing that sets her apart is her strategy.
Yes.
She can come up with a plan, and that happens a lot in the books where she comes up with a plan. She can't even say it to Percy because they're literally in the middle of fighting some monster, but she's like, okay, she usually tells Percy to distract the monster while she does her plan.
Yeah.
And then later, he actually learns from this, and later on, he has other people distract monsters while he has the plan, and it's great.
She's super smart, but this whole idea that
she's not the best warrior
girl is the best warrior in the camp. I don't know why it irks me, because I love Annabeth, and it's totally okay with me if she's a good warrior. But for some reason, I was like, no, that's not really Annabeth.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that, like, same with saying that she's the head of her cabin. She is later in the series, but I don't think Book 1 Annabeth is already the head of Athena cabin. I know she's been there for a while, but she's still only 12. Like...
Huh. I wonder, though. I was thinking she was.
I didn't think she was until Book 4.
I'll have to keep my eye out and see if I see anything that says so, and I'll let you know, but I don't remember.
I really do not think she was.
Okay.
I think it's mentioned that she has been there longer than a lot of the other campers, but that doesn't change the fact that, I mean, she got there when she was 7. That's like way younger than most people get to camp. And she's
been there for 5 years. She's 12 years old.
Yeah.
And I do get the idea that she's respected in the book. But anyway, so the TV series is like hyping her up big time. And I was just confused. I was like, the best warrior? It didn't quite fit with what I remembered. So I'm glad that you feel the same way. In this conversation, this is where they, as the TV series establishes that Luke and Annabeth are like siblings. Like he says, she's like my little sister, right?
He literally says, she's my sister. But then he's like, let me explain.
Yeah, and he explains it. But it's interesting because what we know as book readers is that Annabeth has a little crush on Luke. And, you know, she's always looked up to him very much. And he is the one, she looks up to him. And she would blush when he'd come by. Like, there was definitely a crush. And have we talked about this on the podcast? I don't know. But, like, maybe that was just awkward because she was 12 and Luke, we're thinking, is, like, 17 or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's what the TV show decided to do. Because, like, on screen, they probably was like, oh, this is weird. Or maybe even Rick himself was like, I don't know if I like this plot line after all. Even though, like you said, it's not, like, abnormal for like 12-year-olds to have crushes on older teenagers.
Yeah, little
it's only
12-year-old
weird
girls.
when the older teenager reciprocates the feelings.
Yeah,
but
and you don't get that in the book. Luke doesn't have that at all.
No,
Luke does treat her like a little sister,
right? And
but I do feel like
like
this is establishing.
I always thought that he noticed that she had a crush, but like just ignored it completely and tried to not like pretend it didn't exist so that there wasn't like anything uncomfortable.
Yeah,
but I think that he definitely noticed it, but did not like feel the same way at all.
Yeah. So I felt like this was like their conversation to kind of establish to everybody, like, this is the relationship between these two. He really respects, she's like his little sister, but he like looks up to her.
Yeah, which is also
different.
Weird.
So
it's again like the hyping up Annabeth more than she was in the book for sure.
Yeah. Interesting. I don't know exact reason for that, but whatever. That's how they chose to do it.
I think I know that later on when she is kind of changing her mind about what's important when she's talking with Percy, that at least it does have more of an impact knowing that she's like always clearly searched for glory at camp. Like the reason why she wants to go on the quest is because she can't prove herself any other way. She's already the best warrior at camp and head counselor and everyone respects her and she's whatever. Like the last way to get any glory is to go on a quest, and that's the only reason why she wants to do it. So
and they don't explain any more in the book about why she wants to go on a quest, other than just really wanting to go on a quest anyways because she's Annabeth.
Yeah,
and wants to do more.
Right? I mean, I think she does. She wants to prove herself.
Yeah,
but not in the same way. It's not like in the glory way. It's more like, what's all the training for? I swear she says this to Percy. Like, what's the point of all the training if you can't go out and use it to do good? Like, she wants to do good in the world.
Exactly.
She's not just there like as a self-serving quest, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a bit different, but she definitely just wants to go on a quest. Everyone wants to go on the quest. Like, all the campers are always excited to go on quests. Right.
And that makes sense because that's where it's exciting. Otherwise, you're just in a camp all the time.
Yeah.
Luke does explain in the book that it was kind of his fault that there hasn't been any quest recently because he went on a quest recently and there was, I can't remember. I thought I had it tabbed in here, but I don't see it. But he says something about
something went wrong.
Something went wrong and now they just haven't had any quests recently and he feels bad about that. Anyways.
And in the TV show, they definitely don't say that. However, Luke does mention to Percy this line that I found really interesting, which was like, Annabeth was told that one day she'd be able to go on a quest that even Chiron couldn't stop.
Mm-hmm.
And like that line kind of holds that implication that Chiron is constantly trying to stop quests from happening. Because it's a quest that even Chiron can't stop.
True. So you get an idea that he's not allowing quests.
Yeah, which you could think is for the reason of like the dangers and he's trying to like keep them all protected. So without getting into Luke's like how he got his scar and whatever, that whole quest gone wrong story, you do get the idea that quests aren't common or they're often stopped by Chiron.
Yeah, exactly. That's interesting because there's no like context as to why he would be stopping quests or, you know, he is known to be the one who trains heroes and maybe it's just him being an overprotective dad type of person who doesn't want his kids to go off, but
like that's the impression I got. But again, like I mean, I wish we had someone who only watched the show to ask them
to see what they got.
What did they get from that line?
Because also we know that Annabeth wants to go on a quest and we know that she's been watching every camper, right? So is there any explanation in the TV series what she's waiting for to find a camper? Like,
she's waiting for the one
who's
destined to go on a quest that even Chiron can't stop. Okay. That's what it is.
But we know from the books that there's a prophecy that goes with that. No? Is that the case? Or why does she think why would she even think that there's going to be some camper that comes that's destined to go on a quest?
Yeah, because she knows about the prophecy that even Percy himself doesn't know about until book 5.
Okay, good. Yeah, so she knows about this prophecy that we won't talk about because we don't need to spoil that. Yeah. Okay, good. That's what I thought. Now, I got a question. Am I confused on this? In the TV series, does it go from them out on the field? Do they then, like, find themselves sitting at the pavilion, the eating area?
Yeah.
Okay, and they're still talking.
Yeah, so he says, maybe I should back up.
And then it takes you over there.
And then now we're sitting down at the pavilion. But it doesn't seem like they're eating. I guess they're just waiting for the game to start because then right after they finish talking, the conch shell goes off. Which, by the way, they might use the conch shell for capture the flag in the books as well, but they also always use it to call dinner.
Yeah.
And there's the very first time that Percy hears a conch shell go off that signals it's time for dinner, and he instantly knows that it's a conch shell, and then he's like, that's weird, I've never heard one of those before. Well, how did I know that? Because he's the son of Poseidon. It's a seashell.
There are so many signs, Percy. Why have you not picked this up?
And I remember the first time they would go to dinner in the TV series when I was watching it the very first time, I was like, oh, there was no conch shell. Oh. And then when it went off for the game to begin, I was like, oh yeah, they still had one. And yeah, Percy doesn't say to Luke, why do I know that's a conch shell? However, it's like a little touch for if you're a book reader and have the closed captions on, you'll be like, hey, it's a conch shell.
That's funny. Yeah, no, all these little signs we get in the book where we're like, okay, yeah, he's 100%.
I mean, it's written for 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
You have to remember
put
this.
those in the TV series, or it would just be like, why is everyone so dumb? And we already went over
because
that.
Because the TV series is less for 12-year-olds. It still could be enjoyed by 12-year-olds, but...
I really wanted to see... because I don't remember anything about him recognizing it was a conch shell. Oh yeah, okay, fine. You put a little bit more into it than the sentence says, but you're right. It says somehow I knew it as oh, you're right. Okay, he says somehow I knew it was a conch shell, even though I'd never heard one before.
That's exactly what I said.
Exactly what you said. I wanted to say though, before we go and past this, I don't know if you have more on the scene, but one thing, like we miss a few things in the book where he has warm feelings about his dad. Remember, we talked about it earlier where he says, like, I kind of have this warm light feeling. He was sure he knew his dad when he was a kid, right? Yeah. But there's also... and
then he asks his mom about it, and she says that...
like, you never met him.
He left when she was still pregnant.
Right. So you get that. You get, like, some kind of warm feeling. And then in this chapter, in the very beginning, chapter 8, where it's kind of going through what life at camp is like and what he's doing, it also says here, like... I would eat dinner with Cabin 11, scrape part of my meal into the fire, and try to feel some connection to my real dad. Nothing came. Just that warm feeling I'd always had, like the memory of his smile. So
which is something.
It is something. Like, nothing except for that. Yeah.
Like, that's such a... from a god, I don't know what the other campers feel when they put stuff in the fire. But I feel like that's definitely his dad.
Message of some sort. It's
being just like, I'm here.
Yeah. So they sprinkle a few of those in here. So it does make you feel like, there is some care from dad, but we don't get that in the TV series. We get like this instantly bitter, like, where's my dad? He's not here. He's going to listen to me. Which, right. I mean, there is some of that in the book for sure, but he almost seemed...
It seemed like in the beginning, he's okay with his dad. In the book. In the beginning, he's okay. And then somewhere in the middle part, he does get mad. It's during the Medusa head sent to Olympus thing.
Oh, that's true. And he starts getting a little irritated.
He is a little bit bitter at his dad and the gods. Also, when he learns about how you don't get claimed. And then he was kind of like, oh, that's kind of crappy of gods to just not claim their children. And there's a little bit of bitterness there. And then when he does get claimed, he's also a little bit bitter. He's like...
That's true.
Really?
Okay,
like, now I'm all alone, and, like, I'm a forbidden child. Of course, that's not what they're called.
They call it the child of big three.
Yeah, which is a mouthful, so I like forbidden child.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a little bit... But it's just, it comes and goes, and then in the middle, there's, like, a big part where he's kind of grouchy towards his dad. And then by the end, he's okay.
Yeah, we just don't get any of the warm, fuzzy feelings. So you almost... Like, the whole first season, you're just like... Well, no, not the whole season. It gets, when you see him a little bit later, maybe it's less, but through most of it, you're just like, wow, what a deadbeat dad. Like, no wonder he's so upset. I don't know. I think also in this conversation with Luke, does he bring up the forbidden child?
Yeah. He says that he was with another forbidden child. It was him and Thalia. Yeah. And then Percy asks what that is, and he explains the pact of the big three.
Okay, good.
And then he explains that the two of them found Annabeth, and they didn't want to expose her to all that danger being Thalia. And then they saw her fight.
Right. Which
is also not how that happened exactly, but it's okay.
Yeah. So that's actually a conversation that he does actually have a conversation with Luke in chapter 7, where he's like, he decided to ask, like, Clarice was... No. Oh. He's like, Clarice was saying something about big three material. And so that's when Luke explains a little bit. Oh, and that's where he says, yeah, I mess things up for everybody. The last 2 years, ever since my trip to the Garden of the Hesperides, oh my gosh, Hesperides, I don't know, went sour. Chiron hasn't allowed any more quests. And Annabeth's been dying to get out into the world. And it says she pestered Chiron so much, he finally told her he already knew her fate. He had a prophecy from the oracle. Oh, here, see, this is it. He wouldn't tell her the whole thing, but he said Annabeth wasn't destined to go on a quest yet. She had to wait until somebody special came to the camp. So there is a little bit more explanation what's happening with the whole quest thing and why Annabeth is staring at her, because that leads us to where Percy's like, can you tell her to stop?
Yeah.
Like, how does that go in the TV series?
It's like,
like she watches all the new campers, but she seems to be like more interested
Luke
in you or
says
something.
usually she gives up after a day or two, but she's still watching you. And Percy says, well, can you tell her to knock it off? And he says, sure, but what if she's right? What if you are the one? And I think right then the conch shell goes off. He doesn't even get to answer.
That's kind of funny. And it also is funny because I don't get the book. Percy would be like, can you tell her to stop? Because he kind of liked Annabeth's attention a bit.
Yeah, that's why that is like something that like does differ, and it makes sense when he picks her for the quest, thinking, well, she could never be my friend. Like, it does start a little bit of a different trend.
Yeah, it does. Exactly. Okay, good. And then we do skip a section where he is having a conversation with Grover at the lake, and Grover tells him about the searcher's license, because we don't get this in the beginning. We don't know anything about the searcher's license until later. So that whole section is skipped. And then actually it's Grover who describes the whole big three prophecy, Zeus and Poseidon and not having kids. So it's actually Grover that describes that part.
Yeah.
Luke only explains why Annabeth was interested in him for the quest. So again, all these things are being put into Luke's mouth in the TV series. In the book, it's drawn out between Annabeth, Luke, and Grover.
Yeah. He kind of summarizes all of it in like 2 back-to-back scenes. And it's just a way to get more Luke.
Yeah.
Because we're going to get more of the other 2 already.
Exactly. We want people to really feel that betrayal at the end of this season. Okay, good. So are we into starting Capture the Flag now?
Yep.
Oh, here's something interesting. Did you notice that in the TV series, they say that Athena's cabin has been like bringing victory like every week? Like she's been basically winning Capture the Flag every week. That's not true in the book. In the book, it specifically says that Ares, cabin 5, holds the laurels, which means like they won the last Capture the Flag. But that's not, in the TV series, they again make Annabeth the best because she's been bringing the team to victory every week or whatever.
Right. Yeah, and
which,
also,
see, it makes more sense that Annabeth is like, ooh, I'm going to use Percy to distract Clarice, because Clarice won last time. Yeah, right. Like they want to beat. If she's like, oh, I do this every freaking week, it's like, whatever, like, why does she need Percy?
She's still trying to get more glory.
I guess
she's glory hungry.
But anyway, so that's a differ between the book and the TV series I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, like I said, she's definitely not this like all powerful camper. Yeah, who's like the coolest of them all,
coolest and the most.
Yeah, she's just like average.
Young, and don't get us wrong,
smart.
We love Annabeth. It's like almost the overhyping.
Her glory
weird.
Builds with Percy.
Right. We get a whole storyline where she gets, I mean, like, by the time you get to, further books after this series, like, she's the hot stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah. So anyways, okay, so Capture the Flag starts. I think it's the same kind of thing in the beginning. In the beginning, he, like, briefs, no maiming and no killing.
Right.
It's kind of the same.
And says that magical objects are allowed. So that includes Annabeth's invisibility cap.
And in this case, Percy's pen. He didn't have it in the book.
In the book, yeah. And, of course, Clarice's spear from her dad.
Yeah. And they, everybody's excited and yelling and cheering and all that stuff. That's kind of all the same. And also Percy not knowing what his job is somewhat the same, right?
Yeah, he's proud of the fact that Annabeth wants him on his team. And he thinks it's because of the, magical ability he showed when he beat Clarice up. He thinks, Annabeth thinks I'm cool, thinks I'm powerful. Yeah. But then she's, like, not really talking to him and not really telling him what she wants. I mean, this is also the same in both.
Yeah.
And he's, like, trying to be like, hey, so, like, what's our plan? And she's like, you just stand there.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's similar to the book because in the book she says you're on border patrol, and she says it's easy. Stand by the creek, keep the reds away because the other team is reds and they're blues.
Yeah.
And then leave the rest to me. Athena always has a plan. So yeah, and then he's like, okay, glad you wanted me on your team. Because he's like, that wasn't what I expected. So again, all pretty much the same. There is that walk in the TV series of Annabeth, and she's taking Percy to his spot.
Yeah, and she's like quiet. He's doing like he's having like a one-sided conversation with her, saying like, I really need this to go well. I need my dad's attention. Whatever. And she's just saying nothing. At the very end, she like tucks his like strap in.
Well, right before that, he falls, right? And then he like gets himself up, and he's like, like, okay, I don't know. He kind of calls her out for like...
He's like, I'm fine, but thank you for standing there and doing nothing.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. And so she fixes his buckle and she says this line, you don't get where you fall into this, do you? Or something like that.
Right.
I think she's referring to the fact that you don't get that you're about to be bait for Clarice.
That's the only thing she could mean, but like it sounds like super like cool and ominous, but it's like you don't get that you're just bait. Like that is what she means, right? And maybe she's like scolding him for being like dumber than she is. Like to her it's obvious, and she's like, oh, you still don't get it.
You still don't get it, I know. She puts on her hat at that point. I don't believe, she doesn't do it in the book. I don't believe he sees her in the hat until afterwards after the fight with Clarice, she takes her hat off and she's there, I believe. So, whatever. So they show the invisibility hat and she says it's a gift from her mom in the beginning. Oh, right there, that part of the scene. So that's a little new. But she leaves him at that point, right? And she leaves him in the book and she leaves him in the TV series. And it does show fighting that's happening around the camp, like Luke is running with people and takes over the red team.
Yeah, and you get to see him fighting a bit, and you get to see why he's considered really the best sword fighter.
Yeah. But then you get the great little Percy montage. Yeah. I mean, that was great. Now, do you notice he is not by a creek? When the whole fight happens with him and Clarice and the others from Aries' cabin, he has to run to that lake. Yeah. That lake thing that we don't know if it's...
Yeah, it's not even the river. We do see the river at the beginning of Capture the Flag, but that's not what he fights in.
No.
He ends up fighting in, like, the lake.
No, but before that, he's standing. She doesn't walk him to the creek. See, here's the deal. In the book, she's already figured out that he is the son of Poseidon. She's not dumb. She's like, I saw what happened in the bathroom. So she puts him by the creek. Yeah. Because she's a nice person.
Chance. Yeah.
In the TV series, she does not put him by the creek.
Nope.
She puts him in the middle of the woods because that's Clarice's hunting territory.
She is, nearby, although it doesn't really seem like she's going to help.
So, yeah. I mean, that's the idea we get. We do see her walk away, her footsteps walk away.
Yeah, but then at the very end, he asked if she was, like,
been there the whole time,
and she was like, yup.
And that's different, because in the book, she says, I got here as fast as I can. Oh. I'll read that when we get to it. But yeah, so we do have him doing this whole little, like, waiting. Like, I love it. He does the floss. Mm-hmm. And then he is peeing while he's whistling. And then he's, like, stroking a lizard with the best smile.
That smile is, like, Percy. Like, that smile was such a Percy smile.
So perfect.
If he didn't have blonde curly hair, it would be the exact Percy I pictured in my head.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. So he's doing all those things, and then Clarice finds him. And I believe that, again...
When she finds him, now he's just, like, laying down on a log. Like, not even paying attention to anything.
Yeah, he's just thinking. In the book, he's just sitting here going, gosh, I'm missing all the fun. Yeah, so we get some monsters or signs of monsters and a monster in the Capture the Flag scene that we don't get in the TV series. So first, before Clarice even shows up, he hears this, like, low canine growl somewhere close by, and he feels like something's stalking him. But then the growling stops. He feels the presence retreating. And suddenly 5 Ares warriors come yelling and screaming out of the dark from the other side of the creek. And then we have the scene with Clarice and...
Yeah, and when he goes, the flag's that way. And he's trying to sound, like, super, like, brave or whatever. But it just sounds like a squeaky. Like, the flag's that way.
Yeah. And that's from the TV series. And that was perfect. That's not in the book, though. They just literally... No. The flag's that way is the TV series line. In the book, she yells, "Cream the punk," and they literally charge him, and he it goes right into fighting. Wait, hold on. Never mind. You're right. Okay. Sorry. It's in the middle of the fighting that he says, the flag's that way. And he says, I wanted to sound angry, but I was afraid it didn't come out that way. And then one of the siblings, they say, says, yeah, but see, we don't care about the flag. We care about a guy who made our cabin look stupid. And then he says, you did that without my help. And there's the Percy sass that we love so much.
Even while he's about to be like murdered by 5 like Aries girls, he's like, well, honestly, you did that without my help.
And that scene where he says no maiming, it's actually a guy from the Aries cabin in the book who says, oops, guess I lost my dessert privileges. But it's Clarice who says that, which is totally fine because we don't even know who these other Aries cabin people are. We don't care.
Remember that it wasn't Clarice.
Yeah, Clarice is the one we...
Clarice.
Yeah, that's what we care about anyways. But see, it's in this scene in the book that he gets pushed into the creek at that point.
Yeah.
And then he says, like, the water seemed to wake up my senses as if I just had a bag of my mom's double espresso jelly beans. And then at that point...
12. Why was he having double espresso jelly beans?
I don't know. Maybe he was sneaking her her hidden stash of them. I don't know.
I guess. Also,
then
espresso jelly beans? Sorry, it just doesn't sound yummy.
It doesn't, actually.
Espresso, like, when you have chocolate-covered espresso beans,
that's different.
Delicious. Even maybe peanut butter covered, if you want to be crazy. But jelly beans?
He says jelly beans. Has anybody ever had espresso flavored jelly beans? I bet you it's out there somewhere, but that does sound a little bit... Sounds like a really sweet espresso.
Yeah.
Maybe it works. Yeah, they don't push him in the creek. They run... He, runs away.
Yeah.
And they follow him.
And
but luckily it's not too far. He ends up at this lake thing.
Right. He wants to keep on running, but two of them split up and went the other way, and he ends up cornered.
I think he gets tripped or something and then falls down the bank towards the lake, right?
Something like that, yeah. So, and now they're all fighting, and Percy's not doing a great job. And I remember watching it thinking, he has 0 sword training. 0. But see,
apparently he has.
This is how I feel like there must have been a few more days in between. Because for him to even be able to hold up in that fight, he must have already gotten that training with Luke.
Yeah, because somehow he's holding up. Although they're not all rushing him at once.
No, they are teasing him.
More teasing him. And she's saying...
I'm not interested in killing you or even maiming you. I'm only interested in you admitting that you didn't kill the Minotaur.
Right. And we talked about that last episode. Okay, whatever. Yeah. But and then he just runs away and she's like, okay, I guess not. Or something like that. Yeah. But also, did you notice that when he starts getting better at fighting... They don't actually show, and again, I think this is because they're trying not to make it too obvious until it's revealed that he stepped into the water. But he did. She was backing him up, and you can tell kind of if you really think about it that he must have finally hit water because then suddenly his fighting gets better, right?
And then he snaps her spear.
Which happens in the book.
Yeah, and both times she freaks out because
she screams.
Yeah, gifts from your godly parent do not come once a week. Time. A lot of kids do not have anything from their godly parent or have never heard from them or anything.
And she had this great electric spear.
Yeah, this awesome spear.
What great karma, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, see? Pick on someone your own size or experience.
Yeah, or don't pick on a forbidden child. How about
exactly.
How about that? That's a good lesson.
So he really does, win that fight.
Yeah.
Very obviously in the book. Kind of obviously in the TV series, but not totally. It's still a little stumbly, but he does do better. And again, like I said, you don't really see, but he has stepped into water. And so Annabeth is watching this whole time, right?
Yep.
But right then in the TV series...
She takes off her hat.
No, before that they win. Don't they win? Doesn't they grab the flag and you hear them all yelling?
You see Luke with the flag or his team with the flag and they cross the creek. And they're all, yelling and saying that they won and stuff. And then does Clarice?
She goes to walk away at that point. She's just like,
they start
now everyone's here. She doesn't feel like continuing to beat him up. Here in the book, she yells, "A trick! It was a trick!" Although they literally said just earlier in the book, she said, "I don't care about the flag." So who cares? But whatever. She's angry because she knows she was set up at that point.
Yep.
Yeah. This point in the book, Annabeth's voice comes out from nowhere and says, "Not bad, hero." And it says, and then she says, where the heck did you learn to fight like that? And then the air shimmers and she materializes holding a Yankees baseball cap.
Yep.
And then he gets angry and he's like, you set me up. You put me here because you knew Clarice would come after me. Blah, blah, blah. And he said, I told you, Athena always has a plan. She said that. And then she says, I came as fast as I could. I was about to jump in, but you didn't need help. So she had gone to the game and was coming back for him, it sounds like.
Yeah, I was coming back to help him.
So that was a little different because he says in the TV series,
like, have you been here the whole time or whatever? And she's like,
yes.
Yep. In her classic TV show way.
And she does not look like she gives a dang.
And he starts walking out of the water at this point, and she's like, sorry about this. And then full pushes him into the water.
I thought he was on the ground. Doesn't she put out her hand? She helps him up. And then she says sorry and then pushes him into the water.
Yeah, maybe.
Something like that. So, again, that makes Annabeth seem like such a hard, like, no warmth at all. Where in the book, she sees in the book, she sees that there was a sword cut that was healing because he is in the water.
Yeah.
And then she says, step out of the water, Percy. And he's like, what? And she says, just do it. So he comes out of the creek and feels instantly tired. His arm goes numb. The adrenaline leaves him and he almost falls over and she steadies him. And then she says, oh, this is not good. I assumed it would be Zeus. Like,
so
she wasn't expecting.
Know. You said, like, you were thinking that she put.
Oh, you're right.
That she put Percy by the creek.
I was wrong.
But she couldn't have known because she knows.
Well, the water scene in the bathroom doesn't tell you.
Guess she's not that smart.
Maybe she thought Zeus's powers could explode some water pipes. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe she just thought the water pipes exploded from, I don't know, air pressure. Zeus does control the air.
He does. Yeah. I don't know. So you're right. So that actually proves that she didn't actually know it was Poseidon.
She just thought, oh, Zeus, going around having all these children when you're not supposed to.
We all know Zeus. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, that's a
true thing. But we miss the whole thing where the, what is it? He says, it's the hound. The hounds of Hades. One of the hounds from Hades. The hellhounds. Yeah. So basically, suddenly, there's like a howl and there's like this black hound the size of a rhino with lava red eyes and fangs, and it's gonna
comes charging towards Percy and Annabeth, but then Chiron kills it.
Yeah, exactly. But its razor sharp claws does rip through his armor, and then it says there was there was a cascade of thwacking sounds, like 40 pieces of paper being ripped one after the other. From the hound's neck spouted a cluster of arrows. So he might have been shot by several campers. Who knows exactly? But
no, I think the impression is that Chiron shot that many arrows that fast.
Oh, okay.
Chiron is like a master bow and arrowist.
Yeah, but he's kind of badly hurt here.
And then she tells him,
and she says, get back in the water. She doesn't push him into the water. She says, get back in the water. And he says, I'm okay. And she says, no, you're not. Chiron, watch this. And she says, get back in the water. And he gets back in the water and he just heals in front of everyone's eyes.
And then, of course, at that point, Poseidon can't even pretend. So
okay, I'm claiming him. Although I think Poseidon wanted to claim him soon. So it was just a good time to do it.
Well, the gods, they like to be dramatic.
Yeah. So we do get that. But she pushes him in the water. And then she watches as all of his cuts disappear. And she's kind of like in awe a little bit. And then, of course, the trident pops up.
Yeah.
It's not like horribly different, but I feel like the difference between her telling him to step back and pushing him in the water is
she is very cold and does not care about him or
in the TV series
at all in the TV series.
Yeah. That's why the chemistry, that's why it was scaring, I think, everybody at first.
Yeah. And again, we mentioned, like, in the book, she is his teacher and part of his daily routine is learning ancient Greek. And she's assigned to him as the ancient Greek teacher. So they spend every day an hour or 2 hours together. And they are becoming friends, like how, people who are the same age become friends when they're forced to spend 2 hours together every day. Yeah. Like, they're just naturally becoming friends. So at this point, I capture the flag. Okay, yes, she set him up. Yes, she's a, child of Athena, and it was more important to win than to,
his feelings.
Whatever, than to save his feelings, yeah. However, she was going to come and rescue him and didn't push him into the water and be a jerk. But then in the TV series, they've spoken one time in the bathroom and, that's it.
He's like, Yeah, and then she's always watching him, and he thinks it's creepy, and then she's like pushing him in this creek. So it's safe to say we were all. I mean, it was right for us to all be worried about these two and their
Yeah, because at this
chemistry.
point they barely knew each other, and what they did know about each other, well, at least Annabeth just seems to be like in the TV series. It seems to be like this is just her character. This is just how she generally is.
Mm-hmm.
And then for Percy, he like doesn't like that.
Yeah.
He doesn't like how she generally is, and this causes fights on the quest until they finally make up
Settle that
at
up,
Medusa's after the Medusa situation, and then after that, then Annabeth starts coming around to his point of view of like.
Well, that whole scene where she saves him in that later episode, like really,
Yeah.
you can see that she really cares at that point. So I think that's kind of where things change. But
Yeah, they just did it differently, and once you watch the whole season, you're like, okay.
yeah,
It was just different.
but they
because
didn't
of the less
have
time.
to change that. She could have asked him to step back in the water. I'm just saying.
But
Just be nice, Annabeth.
I know, but then he chooses her to be on the quest.
That's true.
For the
But
reason,
why couldn't they just follow the way he chooses her in the book? Or no, he doesn't choose her. Chiron says we have someone who's,
Well, Percy's
she
like,
says
who's going to
someone-
be dumb enough to go on this quest that's clearly going to fail?
Volunteer. Yeah, so
because he gets a
Annabeth
prophecy,
volunteered.
and the
Yeah.
prophecy's like, well, the quest is going to fail. And Percy's like, who would want to go on this quest? And Annabeth is like, me.
Yeah, exactly. So I just don't know why they couldn't have done the same. They didn't have to make it be like, oh, I'll take Annabeth because she's the one who doesn't like me.
Yeah, well, he says like she would let me die if it meant the quest succeeding. And then he says later that the prophecy says one of his friends will betray him, and he could never imagine her being his friend.
Exactly. My point being that if you know anything about the fandom of Percy Jackson, you know that people are very sensitive about Percy and Annabeth being a very good relationship. And if you're going to change things in a TV series, don't change the relationship. Like, to me, that was dumb thinking. Like, have they not been... do they not remember being a teenager? Do they not remember how important it is to, like, establish all those beforehand things? Like, I don't know. Are they trying to, like, do this, like... I know this is not a romance, but, like, enemies to lovers thing. Like, they hate each other. Oh, look, now they like each other.
Here's the thing. Even in the books, it's a really slow burn.
Yeah.
Like, it's really slow.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Like,
it's a kid's
years. Book. I know that they're just like 12, but still, they don't even, like, you only know that, okay, Percy has a little crush on her. And that's all you know for, like, 2 whole books.
I guess that's true. I guess we're looking at this from, like,
Knowing
2 series
happens.
past, yeah.
Right, so, yeah, that's one thing, is that it's not very fast at all. Like, at all. It is very slow, their relationship. And there is many times where they are, like, hating each other. Either both
irritated
ways,
with each other.
or one way or the other. They have a giant fight over the chariot where they don't talk to each other for like weeks, and then Percy tries to talk to her about his dream, and then she's like, "You're just trying to trick me. You're whatever." Like, they have big fights where they don't talk for a long time, and when he gets claimed as Poseidon, they have a big, they
Not a fight, but she just kind of like
she
is
completely
irritated.
shuns him basically.
Yeah, 2 reasons. One, the Athena and Poseidon upset with each other, but also because she's like, oh, good, he's not gonna. Now there's no way he's gonna go on a quest because
He's never gonna be allowed out.
Yeah,
of the
and now
camp.
she's just mad at him because she thinks it's all his fault.
Yeah.
It's all your fault. Who your dad is. That makes sense.
And also,
Annabeth.
like, she hates Poseidon just on principle.
Yeah.
Because of the arachnid. No, sorry, that's a different story. Because of the Medusa situation.
Yeah. Yeah, so, but I still think I guess what my point is that you can change little details, but I would have not changed. I wouldn't have made her so cold if.
Well, that was my second point. Is one, yes, it's a slow burn, so you shouldn't expect too much in the first book/season. But 2, I think that either it's Rick doing this or the producers at Disney or whatever, but I get the impression that someone on board on this project wants to make even book readers have those feelings of anxiety about what's going to happen, and surprise, and joy at, like, a happy ending. And if it follows the book exactly, we wouldn't get those feelings. Now, maybe you and me, would prefer to have the feelings of satisfaction of seeing it all go exactly per the book.
Yeah.
But I think someone on board thinks that money-making, whatever, for the money-making
and I
purposes.
actually don't mind some of the little changes. I don't mind that. I
That's
just
what
thought...
I'm just saying with the Annabeth and stuff, maybe they wanted to make us be like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Like, what is happening?
And get mad at them? Sure, why not?
Well, when
I
you
guess
get mad, then you want to see what, you want to see, like, are they going to screw this up? Let's see what happens next episode.
Right.
How much has their relationship changed? And
Exactly.
it just, maybe they thought it would hook you more.
Maybe. It's possible. Well, anyway, so we find out he's Poseidon. What's his name? Chiron says, what does he say when the thing pops up?
He explains that Poseidon, well, we
No, he
go
says,
right into...
Son of Poseidon. No, I'm talking about when he's standing there. He says, Son of Poseidon, Earthshaker, Stormbringer. And then he doesn't say, Father of Horses.
Yeah, but Chiron doesn't actually say that when Percy is standing there in the TV series. I mean, that's what you see with your eyes, but then you slowly realize that Chiron is talking to Percy in the big house.
What? No. In the TV series, while he's standing there, because it doesn't go straight from that scene to the big house. It goes straight from that scene to him going to his new cabin.
And
are you saying that
time there's a voiceover
of what he's saying?
Yes. While he's at the cabin, you still hear Chiron talking. You think Chiron's like standing right next to him,
No.
still monologuing about...
Oh my gosh, I don't think that's true. I'm going to have to look at that. I'm pretty sure that at least the part of, he says, because he's claimed right there, everyone's right there, and he says,
that's what happens in the book.
Okay.
But in the TV series, he's still talking about Earthshaker while Percy's walking to his cabin.
Yeah,
So
I'll
there's
have to
no
look
way
at that again.
that's happening during the capture the flag moment.
Why can't it be happening during the capture of flag moment? Why can't the...
Because this is the end of the episode, so they're trying to show, okay, everything that happens to Percy after he gets claimed and introducing the quest. We have 5 minutes. Hello, this is Brianna editing the episode, and I just rewatched that part where Percy gets claimed, and when Annabeth says, your dad is calling, the closed captions are normal, and then once Chiron starts talking about Son of Poseidon, the closed captions become italicized. And that's how you know that it's voiceover Chiron, not present time Chiron. Because then when we join Percy in the big house with Chiron, the italics are taken off of the closed captions and they're back to normal. That's
Okay.
why. Like,
I'll look at it again. I can't argue with you about it because that's not how I remember it. So until I see it, I wouldn't know. But we do see his cabin for like a very split second. He walks into his cabin
while you still hear Chiron talking.
while Chiron's talking. In the book, there is days going on. He talks about his cabin. He says, like, I didn't have to share with anybody. I had plenty of room for all my stuff. I got to sit at my own dinner table, pick all my own activities, call lights out whenever I felt like it, and not listen to anybody else. I was absolutely miserable. Anyway, so you get a little more feel for what it's like to be like, okay, now I'm claimed, but now basically I have not that I don't have any friends, but like now I'm alone.
But everyone's treating him weird. He even says that like Luke is like the only one who's still treating him normally because all the other campers are like afraid of him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. He says like just when I started to feel accepted, like a normal kid or as normal as you can be, now I'm separated out as if I had some kind of rare disease. And then it says the other campers steered clear of me. And so that's why his lessons, he started having one-on-one lessons with Luke at that point for sword fighting.
Yeah, because Luke obviously didn't even want to be around him. So the only people he was spending time with are like satyrs and nymphs, I guess, who were his teachers.
Annabeth still taught Greek.
Annabeth, Chiron and Luke, and like that's it.
Yeah, it says Annabeth still taught me Greek in the mornings, but she seemed distracted. Every time I said something, she scowled at me as if I just poked her between the eyes. After lessons, she would walk away muttering to herself, "Quest? Poseidon? Dirty rotten. Gotta make a plan."
So she's not even talking to him. Like they're not having the friendly conversations that they used to have, where he would learn cool things about camp and what the big three are, I guess that was forever. But
so we don't immediately go into a quest. We go through like what his life is like now. being claimed.
Right.
And then someone goes, do you remember this? Someone goes and puts in the newspaper article, and this is our first sign of what Gabe is doing.
Yep.
Like, it's the first sign, because there's a newspaper article saying, like, Gabe's saying, like, you know, the mother, whatever, Sally and Percy are missing, and there's like a twist of like, maybe it's Percy
kidnapped his own mother,
or like, yeah, or whether he's a suspect and they haven't ruled out foul play. And then, yeah, so you get kind of the idea that, like, okay, so Gabe is now causing a little trouble on the side.
Yeah, and now Percy's like, great, if like nothing could make me feel worse, now
it's this, exactly.
Yeah, and then doesn't Grover come get him to talk to Chiron?
So then he has that dream that I'd mentioned last episode, just because it was corresponding with the last dream, and then wakes up to
once again Grover pounding on a cabin door.
Again, yeah, exactly. And he says, Mr. D wants to see you. And then Percy says, why? He wants to kill I better let him tell you. It's like so funny. So that's when we go into this scene where Chiron and Mr. D is telling him he needs to go on a quest, right?
So they're explaining something was stolen. Mm-hmm. It was the lightning bolt, Zeus's master bolt. It was stolen at the it was stolen at the winter solstice.
Right.
And everyone thinks you did it. And Percy's like,
I
didn't even know. During the winter solstice, I still thought I was a regular kid with, like, just ADHD. Yeah. Like, I don't know what is going on. And they're like...
In the TV series you're talking about?
No, well, both.
Kind of both, okay.
But either way, he's like, it wasn't me. And they're like, we believe you, but it doesn't matter because everyone thinks it's you.
Yeah,
and so now you need to go on a quest to go find the bolts. And then they explain that they think it's Hades because if it's not Zeus, it's not Poseidon, it must be Hades. Pretty much is their logic.
And that's a TV series thing. They do not bring up Hades until after he sees the Oracle.
Yeah, because the Oracle says you must go west, and they're like, oh, California is west.
Must be the god. Must be Hades. Yeah. So they do bring up Hades right away, and that maybe is being introduced, this twist where, like, Percy's like, yeah, I don't want to go. Where that Percy. That's not Percy. The core of Percy would be like,
I need to save the world.
I need to do this. So, but in the...
Wait, oh my god! What? Oh my god, I remember the thing I was going to say earlier.
Okay.
When Percy finds out, like, that his father needs him to go on this quest because, like, whatever. Chiron says, like, your father really needs you. And Percy does, in the book, feel that little bit of bitterness. Is like, oh, wow, he needs me, but, like, he's never even met me. Or, like, he hasn't bothered to come tell me himself. Mm-hmm. Or, like, he needs me so bad, but yet he just now claimed me. Or whatever he thinks. Like, we do get that hint of, like, bitterness for, like, he needs me, but he's not really there for me. You know?
Right.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad I remember that.
Okay, good. I'm glad you remembered that.
It's been bothering me this whole time. So,
yeah. So there's a lot in the book where they explain and they go over this. But also, Mr. D's not there the whole time in the book. Mr. D starts out basically saying, like, can I just, like, destroy this kid?
Yeah.
And Chiron's
he's causing so much trouble.
Yeah. He's like, I don't think we should do that. He goes, he says, like, Chiron says something about not harming him. And then he's like, well, I'll just cause your molecules to erupt in flames. We'll sweep up the ashes and be done with a lot of you. And then Chiron says, spontaneous combustion is a form of harm, Mr. D. And then Mr. D says, nonsense. The boy wouldn't feel a thing. Anyways, it's a very funny kind of exchange because he's basically like, I can kill you. And then he goes, fine. If you're here when I come back, I'm going to turn you into a dolphin.
And send you back to your father.
Yeah, and again, you get this sense of his power through this. Yeah. Because then
he's saying, like, you're going on this quest because I don't want to have to deal with you anymore.
Yeah, like, you better not be here when I come back.
Yeah, because as a god, he is also upset about the fact
that there's a war happening? Or
there's another forbidden child.
Oh,
and right. Percy brings this up. It's like somehow his father made the mistake, but he gets all the blame.
Yeah, it's all his fault.
Because, what are they gonna do? Attack Poseidon? Like, no. So they just blame the child, and that's the fate.
Couldn't keep his pants on, and they blamed the child.
Well, classic.
So then in the book, he goes on to explain, like I said, a lot more about what is actually happening in Mount Olympus and what's going on with, like, why they're fighting and all that kind of stuff. And it really explains it very well. But he does say here, he says, he says, like, neither Zeus or Poseidon will back down. Like, they're just, they're not. I think Zeus wants like Poseidon to maybe apologize,
return the bolt and apologize.
But Poseidon's like, it wasn't me. Like, so he's like not gonna. Well, he's not gonna do anything. Oh, Poseidon wants an apology for being called a thief, and Zeus has demanded that Poseidon return the bolt by summer solstice and whatever. So unless someone intervenes. Unless the master bolt is found and returned to Zeus before the solstice, there will be war. And do you know what a full-fledged war would look like, Percy? And then he says, nature at war with itself, destruction, carnage, millions dead, Western civilization turned into battleground. That alone would get Percy to be like, okay, I guess I have to go.
Yeah.
Because his mother is out there. Oh, no, she's not. But he still doesn't want the world to go into...
Right, that's why he's not on Cronus's side.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he doesn't want the entire world to be destroyed.
Yeah, he cares about, humanity and stuff. So...
Yeah. But, to be fair, it's not presented exactly like that in the TV show. He's just told, pretty abruptly from Mr. D being rude still. I mean, not threatening to kill him rude.
Right.
But still rude in saying, hey, you have to take this quest. Your father needs you to take this quest, and that's the end of that. You're going to go on this quest. And Percy's like, why would I?
In the TV series. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Percy's like, why would I do that? Like, that does not sound fun. That does not sound like something I would enjoy. Sounds like I would die. No, thank you.
Doesn't he have some comment, like they say something to him? He says, I'm, like maybe about being the son of Poseidon. And he goes, I'm Sally Jackson's son.
Yeah. And
like
then
she's the one who raised me or whatever.
And doesn't Mr. D goes, who's that?
Yeah. Or like, whatever, kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's when he's like, I'm Sally Jackson. No, whatever. That's when Grover
runs
shows up.
in. Yeah. And is like, Sally's alive.
Hades
took her.
And this quest is taking you. That's why they needed him to know it's Hades for that little plot twist or whatever you want to call it. Because it's like, and this quest will take you right to Hades. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And then
he's like,
when do we leave?
When do we go? Yeah.
And that's the end of this.
And it just
episode.
ends. Yeah, and I remember the very first time when we were watching them week by week, I was like, if there's no Oracle, I'm going to be very angry.
I know, when they just said, oh, here's the quest, you're going to go. And I was like, where's the Oracle? But it's not so off. I forgot that they did explain the quest. The only thing is he says, Chiron says he believes he knows where the thing is, but he says, before I say more, you must officially take up the quest. You must seek the counsel of the Oracle. So he doesn't want to say any more until he seeks it.
So he probably does think it is Hades.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think he gets that idea just based off the same reason that he has the idea in the TV series is because of just how that relationship is with the three guys. Yeah.
Which is so wrong. It's Hades isn't the big bad in the books like he is in the Hercules movie or whatever. He's definitely not the big bad. He's
they don't let him go to Olympus whenever he wants. They don't have a cabin for him at camp.
No,
there's still
the gods are mean to him, if anything, and his brothers are mean to him, and it wouldn't make sense maybe for him to want to pick a fight, but as when we meet him in this book, he's like, I am so overrun.
I have way too many people here. Why would I want the whole...
He's just a grumpy man buried under paperwork. He's not this big bad.
I love how they do that. And we'll have to talk about how they change that a little bit, but...
However, he's still not a nice guy.
He's not a nice guy. There's several times throughout this series where he's... in
the very last...
We're not going to talk about all of it, but he is a butthead.
There was a time when he could be really helping the gods and really helping save the world, and he's like, nah, I'm good, I'm just gonna sit in Hades.
Yeah, you guys caused all this problem.
Yeah, you guys don't invite me up to Olympus, so why should I help you save the world? He's not nice. He is a butt, but he's not the big bad.
No.
They paint him out, his own brothers and his own family paint him out to be way different than he really is.
Yeah, and as we find out in this season and in this book, yeah, Ares was the god that turned or whatever.
See, he's the one.
And Ares fits that perfectly, honestly. He likes war and strife and stuff like that. So.
However, because he's not Hades and instead is Zeus's very own son, instead he was given the task to go find the bolt. Which I guess, to be fair, he didn't steal the bolt.
No. Well, because we know God can't steal a bolt.
Yes.
In fact, he wasn't even the one that got Luke to steal. They don't explain that all in the TV series, but we do find out that...
No, he
not 100%.
With Grover.
Well, we do find out...
He was the first one to get sent out to go find it. The second it was stolen, he was first on the job because he's like
but
Zeus's
we don't
right-hand
get
man.
this feeling that he was like gonna go find it, and then somehow Kronos is talking to him through his dreams or through something, like a little bit, but that we get it so much more in the book that he was like almost like brainwashed.
Yep.
And he's like, I don't know why I'm doing this. Like, that's actually not even him.
Yep.
But he was a good one to push on that.
Yeah, because he's
got those kind of emotions and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're kind of going off here. We literally end with him saying he's going to do the quest, and that is like halfway through chapter 9 because it goes right into the Oracle in chapter 9. So
right, which is why we were like, "Where's the Oracle?" But yeah. I had faith. I was like, the Oracle is the like.
You can't not have the Oracle.
Major plot point for every book, for the rest of the books that have ever existed.
On all of them.
So, obviously she's
not just a small part in this thing, so no, you can't cross her out.
She's gonna be there. I had faith, but there was definitely a moment where I was like, excuse me?
Yeah.
I think we missed a step.
We were both like that. I remember that very clearly.
But then the more I thought about it, the more I thought, you know what, I'll just probably open next episode with it, and it'll be fine. What a great way to open an episode.
You had more faith than I did. But I'm so happy that they opened it up with the Oracle. So
yeah.
Which is going to be our next episode, because we will go into, of the TV series, we'll go into episode 3.
Yep.
On the next episode of the podcast.
Yep.
So many episodes. Episode.
And we're going to have a special guest.
Oh, we're going to have a special guest next episode.
Yep.
You're going to have to tune in to find out who.
It's Rick Riordan.
Yeah, right. Because obviously he already has heard all about us. Listen to everything. He's like, I like these girls. They're criticizing all my thoughts and feelings. No, I'm joking. Oh, gosh. Okay, good. Well, so I have not particularly come with any kind of end of episode questions, because this was just all like capture the flag, and I don't know. There wasn't a lot of fun things for me.
If you had to pick one cabin to team up with for Capture the Flag, and it wasn't the Athena cabin, because you are the Athena cabin, which cabin would you be like, I want that one on my team?
Aphrodite.
It says in the books that all the Aphrodite girls just sit by the lake and do their makeup in the reflection of the water.
You know, so they haven't shown any like Aphrodite things here, because I'm worried that's like that they could. There's almost like a stereotypicalness to it that like could upset some people, or you know, I feel like they're.
Which again is something that Rick himself does break later on. So maybe he'll just skip the stereotypes and go right to breaking those stereotypes in later books.
But even in the second series with one of our favorite characters.
But you learn that some of them are like that. Yeah, and some of them aren't. See, because that's how stereotypes are. There's always some truth to it. Like,
but it's not 100% like treat everybody like they're that way.
Yeah. But it's like those ones are just the loud ones, but the rest of them are still there and they're not terrible.
Well, I don't think I'd pick Aphrodite. It's just my first thought was like Hermes, but I'm like, that's just so boring, because that's exactly what Athena did. So
they're a big cabin.
Actually, I would pick Ares, because I have the ability to I can talk to people who are like bully type of grumpy people and have them on my side in no time. I have this little special ability for that, where they kind of just like me, and then I can like handle them. Yeah. So I think I would take on Ares.
You just agree with whatever like nonsense they're saying. They're like, oh, I hate these people. And you're like, yeah, anyways, you want to go fight with me? And they're like, yeah.
Exactly. And then give them the right kind of acknowledgement, and then they're like, okay, she's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree.
Yeah.
I would go with the Ares cabin. If I would love to pick like the satyrs, but they're not a cabin, and they don't go fight and capture the flag.
Imagine them just using woodland magic.
I know, but when you see them fight, you're like, dang. Like, being able to make plants grow around your feet and then trip you, that would be great in a forest.
Totally. Just have like a tree form around you.
Or like vines just come down and just like pick you up and throw you. Tree, and
now you're slingshot you across the forest.
That's who I would pick if they were a cabin.
There you go. Well, that was a good end of episode question that we sort of just kind of started doing randomly. But that's good. That's it.
Okay, cool. So follow our Instagram. It's Camp Comparisons. We post clips of our episodes. We let you know when we're updating. Sometimes we ask fun questions. And if you have more thoughts about the episode or about future episodes, email us.
We really want to hear.
Yeah, campcomparisons@gmail.com.
Yeah. And just remember, you probably have Percy Jackson friends. And if you do, we would like you to tell them about us.
Yeah, and if you don't, hand them the first Percy Jackson book and then get them to read 5 books and then the next 5 books.
No. Just have them read the first book and watch the TV series that's out so far. And then say, here, this is a podcast.
But there's no way anyone could read the first book and not read at least the next 4.
Well, they can read the next 4 while they're listening to our podcast.
All right, sounds good.
Come on, let's get this right. Chop, chop.
Right.
Okay, cool. Until next time.
See you at camp.
Bye.
Bye.